Yes, absolutely. So welcome everyone to the webinar. We're super excited to have everyone here. I am Steve, aka Steve, the finance guy, and so I'm here with the special guest, good buddy of mine, Daniel. How you pronounce your last name, Daniel?
Guarin, G-U-A.
Guarin,
Yeah,
Daniel Guarin,
Daniel
Guarin.
Guarin.
Yes, Daniel Guarin out of Miami.
Yep.
Miami, Florida. It's a pleasure to have him. One of the things that we like to do here is first let everybody know that we're definitely here in a full representation of cloud IT. Our goal here is to grow businesses and speak positively about businesses. And Daniel is a partner with Cloud IT, so we're going to learn a lot about not only his business and everything, his great business, but his personal life, right? And so I want to know personally, so I'm gonna ask a lot of questions that I don't know, because I want to know about Daniel and how he got to the wonderful place that he's in, and then how Cloud IT he helped him out. So Daniel, it's such a pleasure to have you, man, to speak with you on this wonderful platform and to speak to you in front of the world, right? So the world can see. So Daniel, I'm gonna ask you just a few questions, man, just because I'm really interested in learning about you, bro. How did you get started? How did you get to Miami? Tell me a little bit about your background. Like I really want to know.
Okay. Yeah, no, it started a long time ago in a galaxy far away. So basically what happened was I graduated from high school. I went to college for I joined a fraternity. I was there for about a semester,
Uh,
and I was spending more time partying than I was doing anything. So I ended up going to the Marine Corps.
wow.
And it was actually in the Marine Corps that I got my start in accounting, because they put me in what's called supply administration, which is basically the military equivalent of an accountant. So I picked it up there, and I learned skills. I liked it, and when I got out, I went to the University of Miami. I got my degree in accounting, and I started working in some large CPA firms. Got my
Uh-huh.
experience there. I made it to manager at a decently sized local firm,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and then it was probably about 2008 that I went 100% on my own. And I was doing like stuff on the side, like most people do. Everybody I don't want to say everybody, but most people in the accounting industry have a similar story where they start on the side and then they grow their client base,
Uh-huh.
and then they just go off on their own when the time is right. And I haven't looked back since.
What man, that's a crazy story. What drew you to accounting? What drew you to these numbers and these, all the stuff that people fear, that business owners fear, right? What drew you to this space?
Well, it was kind of like the order of things, because everything numbers are an exact science, although accounting and taxes they're not really an exact science, because it's a lot of facts and circumstances. But I like the order. I can sit down, I can focus, I can concentrate. So it was peaceful for me. Working on numbers and looking at spreadsheets and all that stuff. I never had an issue with it. So that's kind of what drew me to it. And I mean the money in accounting, you can't complain about it if you're running your firm correctly. So it's always a plus.
I love it. I wanna clarify something just so I understand. Are you a CPA or an EA?
I'm an enrolled agent.
Okay,
So
perfect. Why
yep.
did you choose? And this is good because a lot of people need to understand this. And so we talk to a lot of CPAs. We're always in front of CPAs. You're an EA. Can you
Mhm.
explain to people who just don't understand what's the difference and why you chose a EA versus CPA?
Okay. Well, when I was an undergrad at UM, everybody's like CPA, CPA, CPA. That's what you're the next logical step. And actually, I started working at the firms. I got into tax on the tax side, and while I was doing my master's degree, so I got a master's in taxation also. And
Stop playing. Can y'all stop playing with David, please? I mean Daniel, please stop playing with Daniel. He got it all. He got it all.
So I was working on it. I love the tax stuff and CPAs. I mean, CPAs are great, and the way I explain it to clients usually is that the difference between a CPA and an EA is enrolled agents have a federal license, CPAs have a state license. When it comes to taxes, they're there, and but it's their equivalent. There's some CPAs that don't do any kind of tax work or any kind of accounting work. They'll do audits and governmental accounting, cost accounting, stuff like that, which isn't your traditional stuff. But where was I going with this? The main difference is what you specialize in. Now, I didn't want to. Well, I sat for a couple of the exams. I passed a couple, didn't pass one, and then just things they got busy. The business started growing. My time got limited. I had a family, so I never went to finish up the CPA. But realistically, with what I do in my firm, I don't need it. And just having another regulatory agency looking over my shoulder, it wasn't very attractive. But with the EA status, it gives you everything tax wise that you need to do if you're running a tax firm.
Perfect. Perfect, man. I love that. So fast forward, we're in your company, you're moving. Tell me before you got to outsourcing and we found cloud IT, what were some of the things you were going through, right? Like was it all roses? Was it perfect? You know what I mean? Was it like what were some of the different things you were going through as a company as you were growing?
Well, when I started off, I was a one man show. I was sitting there in QuickBooks, hearing that little dee 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 every time the transactions would come in. This is before they could import transactions. I would sit there and just dee 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 dee, and then the business started growing. I got to the point where I had like four staff members in an office, a brick and mortar, and I had them doing that, but then it just kept growing and growing, and I met Sam, and we started doing the outsourcing stuff, and it was kind of like how was my firm before cloud IT and how was after, and if it wasn't
Wow.
for cloud IT and outsourcing, I wouldn't be where I am today.
What does I wanna dig. You know, I'm gonna dig in that. I'm gonna dig in that. Only because I want people to truly understand the nuances, right? And what you mean. Because this particular episode, I want to speak to the value, right? To this and really the specific values, because you know how we are, right? We want the details, right? We want to know if it, like if it lines up. We know holistically how it makes sense, but then we like to just narrow it down, right? Because that's who we
Yep.
are as finance and accounting people. What is
Yep.
some of the very specific things? And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I actually do because that's why we're here. So what are some of the very specific things that you would say before I had cloud IT, this is what was going on. After I had cloud IT, this is how it helped, or however you want to answer that.
Well, the like I mentioned before, I had a brick and mortar location. I had like the whole first floor of a small building here in Coral Gables,
Wow.
and I had the staff, and you're dealing with the staff problems. I had a flat tire. I had a fight with my boyfriend. Then you've got someone in the front, which is just painting their nails or giving themselves a manicure, and I'm sitting there, I'm like,
All that. Oh man.
for all of this, and also I'm paying rent for it was probably about like 1,000 square feet, and
How much was the rent? How much was the rent?
the rent was about that 2,500 a month.
Yeah, yeah,
This is back in 2017, 18, I want to say.
yep,
And
yep.
well, that's what I had I downgraded or I downsized to having just an assistant right before or maybe like a
Uh,
year or two before the pandemic, and I
uh,
went 100% outsourced to cloud IT, and they were doing my accounting, my payroll, the sales tax, and also the tax return preparation. So
wow,
as I started putting more things over to cloud IT and assigning my team with the different tasks after training them, and they picked it up quick. then it let me free up my time so that I could meet with clients, so I could grow the business. Because there's so many people that work in their business that's where they get stuck. That they get stuck doing the actual work, and they never
Right,
have time to actually grow their business.
right, right.
That's one of the biggest benefits of outsourcing, is that it frees up your time. You got to train them once. You just got to do follow-ups and just manage people how you normally would. But instead of sitting there and having to manage people and doing everything one-on-one with Cloud IT, what we do is we've got the account manager. You talk to them, they disseminate the information, they get everybody up to speed, they're held accountable. And it's been night and day ever since I started doing the outsourcing. I'm not when the pandemic hit, we were ready for it. We didn't
Oh, right, right.
we made a pause. We were already, everything was
Exactly. You started
processed,
cloud based. Right.
and I was seeing a lot less clients at the office, at the brick and mortar. I still have like one of those shared office spaces where I go to meet with the clients. I don't want to meet with them at home, but
Mhm.
the rent, I mean, it's probably like a fifth of what I was paid before.
Awesome. What I want to knock down some barriers and some walls that very specific challenges that people have in this space. Where when I think about outsourcing, um, um, a lot of people fear the security. That's
Mhm.
probably number one, right? Security. What are some of the things that you've done to mitigate security in this type of environment, like when it comes to outsourcing and people's files and all those things?
No, when you're preparing taxes, the security is one of the most important things, and that's why you can't outsource to somebody who you see on Fiverr. Because I mean, who knows who's getting your information, where it's going, who they are. So
Exactly.
that's why I started working with Cloud IT, and the security measures that they have in place. I can log in and I can view their screens. They can't take pictures. They can't take anything, and the level of security. I know all the servers are located here in the U.S., and we do have clients on the tax work signed a 7216, which
Mhm.
none of them have really had an issue with. Because I mean, outsourcing, that's where the service industry is going. I know a lot of the banks. If you call the banks, they've got people overseas, and it's a global economy. It's not the economy that it was maybe 20 years ago or 15 years ago or even 10 years ago. Everything is cross borders, and as long as you're using a reputable company like Cloud IT with their security measures in place, uh,
Mhm.
I have no concerns. They prepare my personal tax return. They
Too.
got my info, my
Right,
social,
right,
my
right.
everything. So
Um, what is a 7216?
the
So
seventy-two sixteen, it's a
you so knowledgeable. I don't want some of the stuff to go over their head
oh,
when they
the
talk with
the
you.
7216, it's a form that's required if you're sharing a client's tax information. So if it's a software provider, you don't necessarily need the 7216, but if somebody's actually preparing the tax returns, you would need that. You
Got
don't necessarily need it for accounting. It's really just for tax engagements.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
but most people, they don't have an issue with it. And I mean, all the big CPA firms, KPMG, Deloitte, they've got international
Accountants.
international
Absolutely.
offices. And this is basic. It's, I don't want to say piggybacking, but it's what the big guys do. It's what big companies do when they want to grow.
See, I was always taught follow the money, right? I was always taught follow the money, and to your point, and I'm gonna say exactly where you are now. When I called T-Mobile, when I call large companies when it comes to customer service, and that's those they have those outsourcing companies overseas, right, managing their work.
Mhm.
Uh, when I worked at a large private equity firm, their funds were managed overseas. There is How has this company saved you cost wise, right? When it comes to your your margins in the accounting space, because margins in the accounting space, if you keep everything, is very slim, right? Right. It's known because you have to hire great talent, right? And so in the U.S., our schools are expensive. Everything that we do, is expensive. And in order to hire somebody of quality, they have to take care of their families, right? And things like that. So, that kind of how has cloud IT really saved you when it comes to cost?
Yeah. In any service business, which accounting, taxes, law, your biggest expense is going to be the staff. Because
Okay.
that's really what you're selling. So right now, my margins, the last time I looked at them, my costs are less than 20%.
Oh my goodness.
So if you can get to an 80% profit margin, it's a good thing. Whereas if you've got in-house staff, your costs are probably, well, it's probably gonna be reversed. It's probably gonna be 80% cost, 20% profit.
Exactly what it is. That's exactly you just nailed it. And I've never said it that way because that's exactly what it is, right? The best firms, when I did my research and I got into accounting, I saw that the very best firms got up to 30% when it comes to margins,
Yeah.
right? Yep, profit margins. And you just nailed it. Like I think going from 20% profit margins to 20% payroll expenses is it. That's the flip. That's the flip that Cloud IT does. And I thank you for that because that was absolutely awesome.
And
When
it's not just the employees, it's also everything else that comes with it. Because now you don't need the rent. You're barely driving out to see
come
clients.
on,
If you
talk
go
to it.
virtual, you're cutting expenses. There's indirect benefits from outsourcing. The software that you have to invest in, everything is consolidated. And with Cloud IT, we've got an integrated client portal, workflow systems, and
Absolutely.
uh, I know with Cloud IT that we've got our own workflow systems, but we can work around whatever works for the client. So it's extremely customizable.
And then talk to me about, okay, so I know that everybody says, all right, well, it's perfect. Like I never like talking like things are perfect. What are some of the challenges that we do face in the outsourcing space? Because there are some challenges that we choose to use. So I want to talk truthfully about what are some of the things you had to figure out that you didn't realize you had to figure out. What are some of the workarounds you had to do, right? Just to kind of paint a picture of
Okay.
what.
Yeah. Well, one of the differences when you have in-house staff is that you can see you can see what they're doing. They can come to you with questions. And what I had to do was just kind of like align my workflow process
Mhm.
and my schedule to create something that worked for me. So with my team, we have accounting meetings twice a week now, especially during busy season, and we've got tax meetings. So I assign everything, and it makes it more efficient to do it that way rather than being interrupted every
Right.
few minutes. 'Cause you got an open door
Asking
policy, and it's like knock, 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 and then knock,
about
knock,
a
knock,
line item, right? You on a call with a client, you right, exactly.
and you're dealing with the HR issues, and you're dealing with a lot of stuff, and payroll taxes, and one of the things is right now I'm the only person on payroll, so I can maximize my retirement accounts with as much as
Oh
I want
my God.
without having to deal with all
Wait,
of the ERISA
you
rules.
just open the door. You just open the door. Wait. Because I know you got something you want to share. Can you explain to me as an owner, because this just changed the game, Daniel. Can you explain to me as an owner how you benefit from putting yourself on payroll, how you benefit from creating your own? Just explain that whole thing to me because that's incredible.
Well, no, normally, if you've got staff and you've got a retirement plan, there's different types of retirement plans, and the way that they're set up is that so that you can't. I mean, there are ways to skew it towards the owners, so the owners can put in more, but that's it's a little more complicated. But generally, what the government wants is they don't want you to be kind of like one sided to where the owners are getting all the benefit and the employees are getting nothing. So you've always got to contribute or match the employees and do all that stuff. But by being a solo owner with everything outsourced, which is that's how I got my firm, you can max out your I can max out my personal retirement to whatever level I want, as long as I stay within the IRS limits, without having to worry that I've got to put this into this person's and put that into that person's. And it's a big win.
Come on, man. I think if that don't get people on board, I don't know what is. Speak to the quality of work. I know that that the biggest misconception that I constantly have to talk to is the quality. And I tell people all the time, I said, you know, the beauty about outsourcing accounting is that they don't teach numbers are numbers all over the world, right? Accounting is accounting all over the world, right? So there is at least a baseline of understanding
Mhm.
of accounting. Speak to the quality and the value and the right of the work of the cloud IT accountants as they come
The
in.
the quality, I think a lot of the quality comes down to personal preference, because different people in different firms like things done in
A
different
certain
ways.
way. Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's where the team meetings come into play. Whereas if let's say you're a big partner in a big firm with a lot of staff, each partner wants things differently. But
Absolutely.
here, if your team is going to do the work the way that you want it, and it's never happened, but I know that if I was having some kind of problem with the person that was doing the work for me, that they get switched out. It's set up in a way that you've only got to train them once. You don't have to retrain someone if you get somebody else to come in. And we actually, I started with just one staff member. Right now, I think I've got like 5 people doing different tasks for me through Cloud IT, and you just got to teach them once, and then they train themselves. They've got an internal process to where they cross train, and you're not just benefiting from your stuff, but they cross train amongst themselves. So if something comes up, like they'll bring up, hey, you're not doing this because they heard somebody else say, hey, we've got to record the interest on the shareholder loans, or they've got something going on.
Come on.
And it also it helps because you're not just tapping into your team, but you're tapping into a pool of talent.
Yep, that's
And
it. And
some of
I
the guys in cloud IT, I mean, people they used to work at Deloitte, some of the big four, so it's not some guy on Fiverr in his living room with his kids running around.
right with a Excel sheet up. I tell people all the time, like it's no different than any other person, right? People who no matter who you hire, people are going to need time to learn your system, no matter what that is, right? Anybody you hire is going to have a baseline understanding of accounting. They're going to understand that you won't have to teach them about assets and liabilities. You won't have to teach that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
no, they're qualified. They're chartered accountants. They know what they're doing.
100%. 100%. Is there something you wanted to show? What did you want to was it something you wanted to show on your computer?
No, no, I just had some bullet points.
Okay, 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 okay.
I can share them, or I think we can probably just go over these because I think we've touched on a lot of them. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, if you want. If you want. If not, we can, you know what I mean? We're good.
here, let me see. Or no, I think because what I was going to do is just go over the benefits of outsourcing. Sorry about that.
No,
For
you're good.
accounting firms, and we've already talked about the cost savings on specialized services, and the clients they get access to services at a lower cost, because there is going to be that price difference. What you're paying somebody in the U.S. is not what you're going to pay somebody who's outsourced.
And that even helps us, right? Because it allows us to be flexible if need be, right? And I think for the right client, for the right situation, because a lot of times in businesses, when you don't have working capital, then you have to price things a certain way
Mhm.
in order to just maintain, in order for you to live,
Yeah.
right? In order for you to operate and do things, and so that gives you no flexibility. And I think cloud IT gives us the flexibility to to not only charge at market rate, but do what's necessary for each individual client, right? So yes,
Yep. No, and I know one of the or an issue that I've seen amongst other accounting and tax firm owners is some of the ones that have been in business for a long time. They don't want to raise their prices on their clients. So
yes,
what they have, they have two options. They can either go out and try to get more clients, or they can cut their costs.
come
And
on,
with inflation going up, I mean that's one way to increase the margin so that you can do what you want to do instead of what you have to do.
come on. And what's the speak to the? And I want to we can I want to we can get out of here in about 5 to 7 minutes. Speak to scalability and the exit strategy of a CPA firm, right? CPA firms normally have the lowest multiple when it
Mhm.
comes to selling and exiting as a firm. Why is that? Why do they always have a low multiple? And then how do you think cloud IT could help with the scalability, in your opinion?
But what happens is, well, going with cloud IT, you're becoming a virtual firm. Right? You're catching up, and there's a lot of older practitioners who they're local and they're limited to the clients that they're getting, which are local.
Sure.
Now, with Cloud IT, you can service clients in any state because let's say you're preparing a tax return for I don't know, for Alabama, and
Somebody in Alaska.
you don't know anything about the state tax in Alabama. There's somebody at Cloud IT who's prepared an Alabama tax return and can help
Yeah,
you, and can the person preparing the return can lean on them, and they can go back and forth so that you've got not just the expertise that you have, but you've got a
come
pool
on, man.
of
Come on.
experience that,
Absolutely.
that you can tap
Absolutely.
into.
Spot on. And then I was telling someone is that, when you sell, the owner has to be able to identify themselves in your seat and feel good about, what I mean, because you're selling to another owner. So they have to be able to look at your practice and say, hey, is it smooth? Can I? And so the less system you have, the less of a system you have, and the less of structure and where things supposed to be and what people are paid, the less valuable your firm is.
Yeah, no, virtual practices sell at a higher multiple than a traditional practice.
100%, 100%. So man, so I want to Daniel, you've been incredible. Like this webinar, I believe, will change a lot of lives. I think this webinar will change a lot of CPA firms. Because I really feel like you explained it so well in ways that people can understand it. Um, I want to end it with what is your favorite, because I want people to know you personally. What's your favorite quote?
Okay.
And why? What is your favorite quote? Let's end it. You've been amazing. End it with your favorite quote and tell us why.
It's actually a Mike Tyson quote that
Okay.
everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Everybody has a plan. Everybody, let's say you got an older uh,
Uh,
accounting firm owner who's planning on selling their firm, but then they realize that they're not going to get the multiple. They realize that their clients are going to be gone. They realize that they're
yeah,
not as profitable with
yeah.
in-house staff as they are with outsourced services, and that's the punch in the face.
That's the punch
So,
in the face. And what are you gonna do after that?
yep.
And wait, I don't want to change the subject. Mike Tyson just signed. He about to fight. You hear that?
Oh, I'm looking forward to that, but
He's fighting Jake Paul on July 6th
oh,
in
I got
July.
the pay-per-view to watch that one, but
He's 57. Jake Paul's 27.
wow.
It's gonna be crazy. So I don't know, but I'm excited.
Mike Tyson, you always got a shot with Tyson, but
You always gotta start with Tyson. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you so much, Daniel. This has been, I really believe this is gonna change lives. Everybody, if you watching this and you never heard of Daniel, reach out to him, hire him for all your needs. He is one of the best in the country in this with taxation and accounting. So guys, this has been awesome, Daniel. I appreciate you, bro. All love. My guy. All right. You guys have a blessed one.
Appreciate it. All
All
right.
right.